Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the November Board of Education monthly meeting. At this time, I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I see there's roll call on the agenda, so we're going to go around the room for roll call. Miriam, we'll start with you.
Miriam Underwood.
Carl Stocker.
Carrie Socha.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Young.
Jennifer Zen.
Angela Moser.
Marcia Kupferschmidt.
Megan Johnson.
Keegan Murray.
Jen.
Jennifer
Lenore Williams.
Oh, okay. We got two at the same time. Lenore, thank you very much. So just to give everybody a little bit of a background, we have 3 board members who are traveling on vacation, on the road, one who's driving. So just full disclosure, they're all here, just not in person. Thank you. So tonight we have action item number 2, or item number 2, which is special recognition, and we'll start with the Ellington High School AP research students. Mrs. Hartling.
Good evening. Tonight we recognize an extraordinary group of young scholars whose accomplishments place them among the very best in our nation. AP Capstone is one of the premier academic programs at Ellington High School. AP Capstone, each year 160,000 students across the country take on this challenge, but only 17% earn the capstone diploma, and only 12% get a score of a 5. This class, and 3 not here tonight, every single one of them earned a 5. Every single one of them earned a capstone diploma. And in a feat achieved by far less than 0.1% of high school students, every single one of them is a published scholar. Their success reflects true academic grit, conducting deep research, mastering mixed methodologies, applying statistics with precision, writing at the scholarly level, embracing difficult feedback, presenting before a panel and defending their research decisions, and navigating the publication process with maturity and resilience. And of course, the journey was filled with moments that made this group unforgettable. From uploading Smithsonian oral history documents at midnight with Caitlin, sometimes racing the clock and the system, to convincing Nick to show his funny side while presenting in his now iconic corduroy elbow patch suit, to walking in the trees with Lana, simulating what forest bathing with a 10th grade student or class of students in the rain might actually be like, and preparing for Aditi, using ChatGPT to try to decipher the complex terminology buried in the Arabumani research studies so that my feedback could possibly match the medical study that she was doing. To reassuring Keisha that discovering that your hypothesis isn't supported by the data doesn't mean that you failed. It's real science. These moments weren't just a part of their projects. They were a part of who they are becoming. And somewhere along the way, these students stopped becoming just my class, and they started becoming my kids. I could not be more proud of their effort, their discipline, and their commitment to genuine inquiry. Guiding them on their journey has been the highlight of my 21-year career as an educator. As each of them moves forward to their next journey, I already miss them. But I also know their scholarly journal started right here in Ellington. Please join me in celebrating our AP Capstone published scholars.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Nicholas, and I'm here to talk. I'm here with my classmate Caitlin. We're representing our AP research group. 3 of our peers couldn't be here tonight. Lana, who's off at the University of Vermont, and Keisha and Aditi, who are busy making music at NCCC. So while they're away, we'll do our best to brag about them in our absence. Keisha actually kicks off our overview with her study. So before I dive into mine, let's roll her video.
and I will be presenting the results of my AP research project, Harmony in Schools, the role of instrumental ensembles in fostering student belonging. Before I dive into my paper, I'll begin by explaining a bit about what AP research is. AP research is the second course of the AP Capstone program. In this course, students design, conduct, and present a year-long independent research study on a topic of their choice. My project focused on school belonging and instrumental ensemble participation. School belonging is a major predictor of students' motivation, social well-being, and academic success. Students who feel connected to the schools are more engaged and more likely to thrive. And as a musician myself, I have always felt a sense of community within music ensembles. So I wanted to explore a key question. To what extent does instrumental ensemble participation impact high school students' levels of perceived belonging within their school community compared to those who are unenrolled? To measure belonging, I use Arslan and Durer's school belonging scale. My study used a quantitative ex post facto research design, meaning I compared naturally existing groups, musicians and non-musicians, without manipulating any conditions. The participants were 633 high school students, and the study followed ethical guidelines, including passive consent. Advisors informed students that the survey was entirely voluntary. Students completed the school belonging scale, which measures both social inclusion and social exclusion. After collecting responses, I compared the scores of the two groups to test for significant differences. The results showed that music ensemble participation did not have a statistically significant effect on students' overall belonging scores. Both musicians and non-musicians reported similarly high levels of belonging. And overall, one of the strongest findings was that students across the school felt a very high sense of belonging, regardless of their music ensemble participation, potentially due to already existing initiatives on belonging, such as our advisory system and Culture and Climate Committee, among a lot of other things. In conclusion, while participating in music ensembles did not significantly impact total belonging scores, it may still support students by promoting feelings of inclusion and reducing exclusion, as I found that the results indicated that musicians exhibited lower levels of social exclusion. The consistently high belonging scores across all students also highlight the strength of the school community. For future research, increasing the sample size or examining other extracurricular groups may reveal more distinct differences.
Thank you, Keisha. Now we'll move on to my study. My study was published in the Journal of High School Science, and it focused on cognitive dissonance. Now, that's a term that sounds intimidating, but it's really just the tension we feel when our actions don't match our beliefs. Picture this. You walk into a test thinking, I've got this. I studied all night. Then the grade comes back. Not so great. That mismatch between a belief and reality creates dissonance. And usually we try to patch it up with excuses like, well, the teacher made the test unfair, or I wasn't feeling well that day. I think we've all been guilty of at least one of those. Now, I looked at a variation of the theory called self-consistency theory. This theory says dissonance isn't just about the action itself, it's about whether the action clashes with your sense of self. My research asked, is there really a correlation between cognitive dissonance and changes in self-esteem? And the answer is yes. The data showed that when people experience this tension, their self-esteem dipped, supporting self-consistency theory. Well, why does this matter? Well, it gives future researchers a stronger foundation to explore how self-esteem interacts with decision-making, motivation, and even mental health. It's one more piece of evidence that our beliefs about ourselves are just as important as the actions we take. Now, beyond the research itself, AP research taught me 3 lessons that I think are worth sharing. In a sense, they're my big 3 takeaways. The first is my clarity of prose. When I started writing last October, my drafts were, let's say, ambitious. I'd write these perhaps overcomplicated sentences that failed to resonate with an everyday reader. Over time, I learned how to break down complex theories into clearer language, the same way I just explained cognitive dissonance to you. While more technical jargon may be appropriate for specialized academic audiences, I realize that the ability to translate ideas into plain language is valuable everywhere. Whether you're writing a paper, giving a presentation, or just trying to make sure people actually understand what you're saying. The second lesson was my presentation skills. I'll be honest, presenting was the hardest part for me. At first, I was nervous and overly formal, but practice after practice, I got better. By the time of my final 20-minute defense, I was confident enough to even throw in jokes. That growth taught me that a big part of research is about how you share it. If you can't present your work in a way that engages people, they're less likely to be able to apply it. Lastly, the third was giving critical feedback. This one, I believe, is overlooked in most classes. Usually we get feedback from teachers, but we don't practice it ourselves. In AP Research, every rehearsal meant peers giving sharp, constructive notes on both presentations and papers. Learning how to critique well, not just saying this is good or this needs work, but explaining why and how made me a better presenter, writer, and collaborator. And honestly, nothing keeps you humble like your classmates pointing out that your brilliant sentence actually makes no sense. It's tough love, but it works. All right, those were my big 3 lessons, and they're the reason why I think AP Research is so valuable. Now let's hear from Aditi. Her video will give you a glimpse into her study and perspective.
Hello, my name is Aditi Parpoli, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my AP Research project and AP Research. I couldn't be there for the Board of Ed meeting because I am at NCCC's for band currently. To talk a little bit about my AP Research project, I studied the role of bacterial persistence in E. coli, which is a type of bacteria, very common pathogenic bacteria. Bacterial persistence is the idea basically that bacteria can survive under antibiotics, but they manage to persist. So they don't actively resist the antibiotics, but they somehow have these certain mechanisms and ways of survival that allow them to just survive antibiotic treatment and then resuscitate post-treatment. So they're different than antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which actively combat the bacteria or actively combat the antibiotic. But my research was basically to measure the metabolic gene expression of the gene GCVT in E. coli bacterial persister cells to try and figure out the metabolic underlying mechanisms of bacterial persistence in that one specific type of pathogenic E. coli. In general, my research went it was an up and down process. A lot of setbacks happened in the lab that I had to overcome. But overall, AP Research was a class that really helped me because of Ms. Hartling, Ms. Ouellette, and the class. I was able to not only write a paper that helped me build the skills I needed to get published. I have 1 paper that's published so far, and then I have 3 more that are in the progress of getting published. 1 of which has been accepted for publication, the Journal of Student Research, and then 2 of them are pending publication because 1 was done at Duke Clinical Research Institute this past summer, and then the other one was done in the Setlo Lab at UConn Health over the summer as well. And so those 2 papers are pending publication. But overall, AP Research helped me hone my skills as a researcher, being able to synthesize data and information in a way that's accessible to a reader that may not have more of a scientific background. And it also helped me with my presentation skills. I've been able to present in a few places for research, and if I didn't have AP Research and AP Seminar, I wouldn't have the skills I needed to be able to orally defend my arguments, which happens a lot in different research conferences and thesis presentations. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about my project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Aditi.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Powers, and I'm going to be discussing my research on Native American boarding schools and resilience against historical trauma. It's my Okay, so never mind. Yeah, okay. So my research began in AP seminar when I began researching about the Navajo Nation and their experiences in boarding schools. This paper discusses the trauma faced in boarding schools and the impact that that has on the Navajo Nation. And this paper also provided possible solutions to help the historical trauma that they faced during their experiences. One of the key findings I had while writing this paper was that Native American boarding schools still have significant impacts on Native people today, and that there are solutions to help mitigate those impacts. And then all this background information led me to begin my AP research study on the Lakota and Ottawa people's experience in boarding schools with my paper, America's Hidden Genocide, a case study on historical trauma and resilience of Lakota and Ottawa boarding school survivors. The research question that this paper followed was, how did Lakota and Ottawa experiences of forced assimilation in boarding schools differ, and how did resilience strategies influence historical trauma outcomes as evidenced in oral history? In this paper, I hypothesized that the Lakota people embodied heightened resilience during and after assimilation practices compared to the Ottawa people. However, during my research process, I found that this hypothesis was incorrect. And in this paper, I also used oral history from the Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative as my qualitative data. My major key finding of this study was that even when a Native tribe embodied more resilience than another, the consequences of boarding schools were still had a relatively similar impact today. And this highlighted the idea of the dark side of resilience and the importance of further research of connecting the dark side of resilience and Native people today. And then finally, with this new background information on the Lakota people, for my National History Day project, I wrote a paper on the Wounded Knee occupation of 1973. In this paper, I discussed the historical context, what occurred during the Wounded Knee occupation, and the impacts that it has had on the Lakota and Native community as a whole today. And my key finding in this paper was that despite the efforts during the Wounded Knee occupation of 1973, Native injustices still prevail today, and emphasizing the importance of continued resilience of Native rights today. So all of these papers in AP Seminar, AP Research, and National History Day have taught me some immeasurable skills, including critical thinking, discipline, resilience, and especially how to take critical feedback, which I can apply to not just my academic life, but my everyday life in social scenarios. Also, which specifically for my AP research paper, I researched and published what no one else has before. For example, I was the first person to publish the connection between the dark side of resilience and Native people, and I was also the first person to use the oral history that I used for the data in my study, which is really important because it showcases the stories of the survivors that have never been told yet. And I would also like to continue research in college and beyond, and this class has just gave me given me I would say a leg up compared to my peers to continue this research in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was incredible, the work that they've done. Another round of applause for all of them. Great job. Definitely some scholars among us. Thank you. The next is the Connecticut Kid Governor Center Elementary School. Mr. Verderin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to start by asking that we use our transparency for trust, and I'd like to ask a show of hands of who knows what Kid Governor is from our board. Okay. The reason I ask that question is that it is a unique accomplishment that we are going to celebrate today, so I'm not surprised. In my 20-plus years of education, I've never worked with a student who is a finalist for Kid Governor. So I wanted to open up today by starting with that, and also wanted to tell you that it took a lot of people to help Myra. And so I also want to recognize that her little brother is here in the audience, as well as her mom. We have a third grade teacher, Michelle Bennett, from our school, as well as Carol Feindel, who is a library media specialist assistant. And we have Sarah Burdacki, who is going to speak with you a little bit about Kid Governor tonight. And then we definitely want to open it up and ask you if you have any questions for Myra. I do want you to know that tomorrow morning there will be the announcement for the state of Connecticut as to who the Kid Governor winner is. She is a finalist, and we will be presenting that to our classes tomorrow, hopefully live at 9:30 in the morning. So we're super excited. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Myra, and I hope that all of you enjoy hearing a little bit about her presentation and what Kid Governor is.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hi. This is Myra. We're here to honor her. Myra is a magnificent student. So just for a little background, Connecticut Kid Governor is a civics education program open to all 5th grade classes across the state. It's completely voluntary. I heard about it first when my friend's nephew won the competition, and I thought it was so cool. So I'm also the talented and gifted teacher for 5th and 6th grade at Center. And that gives me an opportunity to work with really cool, I should say, ambitious and gifted students like Myra. So I asked the group of 5 if they would like to be a candidate. And 3 of the 5 said yes. So we proceeded. They researched a community issue that they were interested in. And Myra, along with 2 of her classmates, made videos. And we had a primary election at the school. Myra was the winner. And I'm really proud of the runners-up because they joined our whole group in supporting Myra and helping her to make her campaign video. So Myra's campaign video was a true community collaboration. Her mother actually drove her to several locations to film. Her mother was also instrumental in making sure that Myra knew her story thoroughly so that she was able to communicate it clearly and effectively. And if you watch the video, I think you will see that she did. Also, her classmates, a few of us were able to edit the video collaboratively, which was great. And it was hard. We had a tight timeline, but we were able to get it done. And so we submitted it, and out of 51 applicants for the state, Myra's video was chosen as one of 7 finalists for the state. So that alone is a huge accomplishment, and that actually guarantees her membership status in the Connecticut Kid Governor cabinet, which is awesome. It means that she gets to go to monthly meetings throughout the year and work on her 3-point plan, as well as support the governor in his or her 3-point plan. She could be the governor, she could be a cabinet member. Either way, she's won, and it's wonderful. And so Myra's platform is on social inclusion, and it was really cool to hear Keisha talk about social inclusion as part of her study. Super important topic, and I have to tell you that since I've met Myra in first grade, she has embodied this message. She has always included those around her and has been a true role model. So to see this video come together, it's not shocking. This is her. But she did a fabulous job, like putting it to words and putting herself out there, and it's really a special project for us. So for the last 2 weeks, fifth grade classes across Connecticut have been watching all 7 finalist videos, and they've been voting on the person that they feel, or that they support most in their platform. So we had a voting day a week and a half ago, and it was a true simulation of democracy, which was awesome. And we shall see who the winner is tomorrow morning. But again, I'm just so proud of what has been accomplished thus far that either way, it is a win. To quote her video and her message, she wishes that all students in Connecticut feel heard, seen, and included. And that's just such a special and important message relevant to today. So please join me in honoring Myra.
At this time, I would like to open it up to the board to hear if you have any questions for Myra. She is more than willing to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Myra, for joining us. What a great achievement for you. One question that I have is, what made you choose that topic specifically?
It's because whenever I went to like summer camps and we used to play like games like partner up or like anywhere where you're doing partner up, and if there was like an odd number in the class or group, there would always be someone left out because like say I'd go with my best friend, other people would go with their friends, and one person wouldn't be, so like they could be like shy or like be a little different, and then kids wouldn't want to partner up with them. Like one time in camp there was this girl, Haley, and her eyes were like a little crossed, but like that made people like not want to go with her. So I wanted to go with her because like nobody else was, and it just made me feel sad because you should always have like someone behind your back and like partnering up with you and making you feel you belong.
That's awesome. Other questions for Myra?
I have a question. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mary. No. What part of the process did you enjoy most about participating in the CT Kid Govern?
I enjoyed working with my friends and teammates, editing the video, talking about like what we liked, what we didn't, because everyone was really honest. Like say I didn't do something well, my friends would be like, Myra, I don't really think that looks too good in the video, and they'd be straight up honest and not be like covering up and like making me feel better about it.
That's excellent. Good. Miriam?
I wondered if we get to see the video.
We will share the video with you. I will tell you, and Sarah can attest to this, there are a significant amount of rules that come with this process, including us not being able to persuade even our center school students to vote for Myra. So after tomorrow, I will share that with the entire board.
That's awesome.
Put it on your website?
Absolutely.
Other questions from board members?
My understanding is you go to the Capitol for these cabinet meetings?
The old State House, so the former Capitol.
Oh, okay. You look forward to that and being with other kids, students that have the same ideas.
Yeah, so we can share and collaborate, and because like I really liked all the other videos, and they were really inspiring about all the different topics there were, and I want to know like why every kid chose it and like how they got inspired to do it.
That's great. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm inspired by you here. Like that's amazing. Congratulations again. What a great job.
Thank you.
Very well done. Congratulations. The next item on the agenda is the board chair report. I have a couple of items that I wanted to share with everybody. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone who came out to vote during this last local election. I think voting is our right, and in my mind, it's a responsibility. And I just appreciate everyone who headed out to the polls, or they voted early, or they submitted an absentee ballot. Just appreciate all of you. I think it's also important for us to acknowledge some board members who are not with us any longer here on the Board of Education. I think many of you knew Gary Blanchette, superstar. No one in the state has been a board member longer than Gary, 32 years. He served, but he didn't just serve here on the Board of Education. He was always also an important member of the Permanent Building Committee. And through his tenure, he helped in the building of Crystal Lake School, the new school there, the senior center, and what is now the Windermere Project. So he will be greatly missed. We've appreciated his service, not just to Ellington community, but here to the school district. The second member is Steve Veens, and although Steve did not serve as long as Gary, no one has in the state, during his tenure, he brought a corporate perspective and an eye for finance. His concern for student achievement and success was always apparent in his comments during meetings. Steve has children who went through the district, as well as currently grandchildren going through Ellington Public Schools, which I believe added a valuable viewpoint to the membership. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome two of our newest members, and that is Carl and Megan. Congratulations and welcome. Looking forward to working with both of you. On the agenda tonight, you will see a note after Citizens and Staff Forum that there will be an adjournment for the board caucus. I never really thought about this before, but I was thinking back to my first board meeting, and it was kind of like deer in the headlights. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody an explanation for those of you who aren't familiar with the process. That's a time that'll be used to select the executive committee here on the Board of Education, and that includes the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. This process excuse me, happens every 2 years in accordance with the Board of Education bylaws. Once the board returns from the caucus, we will vote on those 3 positions. With that being said, I wanted to let everybody know that I will be stepping down as chair. The choice is mine alone. I'm not being forced out or asked to resign. In fact, quite the opposite. But for me, it's time. And it's been an honor and a privilege to serve as chair over the last 4.5 years, and I remain committed to our community and to serve as a board member. Thank you. The next item is Citizens and Staff Forum, and we have Crystal Banville. Do you need help?
I think I got it. Thank you. First, I have to say congratulations to Center School. I teach 5th grade, so Myra's famous. My students are going to die when I tell them that I saw her tonight. My students were blown away by her video, but I won't tell them where she's from. Voting's already done. Over the last 5 months, I knocked on many, many doors in Ellington, here in town, with our new board members, Carl and Megan, talking to citizens about their experiences with Ellington Public Schools. And many things were shared with me that I do feel compelled to share with the board. Tonight, I wanted to take the opportunity to share about one of the top 3 concerns that people I spoke with, parents, bus drivers, substitute teachers, support staff, that they brought to my attention. This issue is behavior and subsequently bullying issues. These things have been negatively impacting many families, including my own. Some families have even chosen to remove their children from Ellington Public Schools as a result. And I do encourage the board to look at withdrawal request queries from the past year to follow up with some of those families to hear their stories. Now, difficult and mean-spirited behaviors are things that every district deals with. However, our district has a unique infrastructure issue that is problematic. A child that's repeatedly targeting another student, who's repeatedly engaging in aggressive physical actions towards others, really just needs more support. They need explicit social skill or self-regulation instruction in order to develop more effective or appropriate behaviors. Right now in district, teachers, support staff, administrators, they're putting out these small fires that students who need this kind of support are creating all day long. This is a very exhausting endeavor, and while I know these staff members are doing everything they can to provide help and support, they're facing limited resources, and one such resource is access to a school social worker. The School Social Work Association of America recommends a ratio of 1 social worker for every 250 students in order to achieve effective and optimal support for students. Now, in Connecticut, the average is about 1 for every 580 students. I learned recently that in Ellington, right now, we have only 1 social worker for all 3 elementary schools. That is a ratio of about 1 to 1,300. So this is roughly 5 times the recommended ratio and 2.5 times the state average. So it's no wonder that behavior is an issue that we're seeing a lot of. I do understand that in Ellington, we have school psychologists who are available to students, and they do step in to offer support. However, school psychologists also are responsible for testing students for triennial reviews, initial IEP meetings, preparing reports, and attending IEPs or 504s. These professionals are very busy too. Their area of expertise and training is also different than social workers. Social workers are the ones who are on hand to support children not only with social and emotional needs, but also throughout those everyday challenges that life will throw at kids: divorce, illness, or even sadly death. Every child deserves access to a social worker. As a classroom teacher in another district, there have been many, many times in my career where I've identified the need for social work for one of my students. Maybe it's in the area of appropriate attention seeking or in the area of anger management, but my students get the help that they need because they have access to the social worker. And as a result, they have less problems with peers and in future grades. It's almost like a trickle-up effect, so to speak, and it's positive and preventative. So I feel we need to do more than just put out these daily fires. We need to extinguish the source and help our students build a skill set. I know budgets are created early and in advance, so I really felt it was important to advocate for this issue now. I would like to ask the board to support the addition of at least 1, if not 2, full-time social workers for the 2026-2027 budget. I feel that by adding these social workers, we can move from reacting to these daily crises or outbursts and more towards building school communities where every child feels safe, supported, and ready to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will head into caucus, and as soon as we are complete, we'll be back. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, Lenora, it's just me right now.
We're not back in yet, are we? We're back in? Okay. The time is 7:08 and we are back in session.
At this point, I would like to entertain a motion to appoint a board chair.
I move to appoint Carrie Socha as board chair.
And any discussion? Then we will do a roll call vote, and I would like to go in clockwise order, and hopefully Jennifer Mullins, our first remote participant, is hearing us.
I'm here.
Great. So this is a yes or no vote on the motion for Carrie Socha as board chair.
Yes.
Great. Our next vote would be Lenora Williams. We'll come back to Lenora in a moment. Megan Johnson.
Yes.
Marcia Cooper-Schmidt.
Yes.
Angie Mosier.
Yes.
Jennifer Zen.
Yes.
Carrie Socha.
Yes.
Carl Stocker.
Yes.
Miriam Underwood.
Yes.
And is Michael Young on phone?
Yes.
And that's a yes as well. Okay. Is Lenora Williams still with us?
Lenora is a yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
So that is a unanimous vote for board chair. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Carrie.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion for vice chair position.
I would like to nominate Miriam Underwood for vice chair.
We'll do a roll call on, we'll start with Jen Mullen,
Yes.
Lenora Williams. Okay, we'll come back. Megan Johnson,
Yes.
Marcia Cooper.
Yes.
Oh, Lenora, is that you?
Yes, that is Lenora. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Marcia Cooper-Smith, Angela Mosier,
Yes.
Jen Zen,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Stocker. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Miriam Underwood,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Thank you. That congratulations to Miriam Underwood. Welcome to the vice chair position.
Smile, Miriam, smile. Smile.
Oh, Mike voted yes as well. I'm sorry, Mike, I forgot about you. Put him like this so I can see him.
I'm literally holding you up to my microphone right now.
I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Okay.
I will cry a little bit, but it's okay.
All right. Can I entertain a motion for nominations for the secretary position, Board of Ed secretary position?
I nominate Jen Mullen for secretary.
Okay.
Oh.
Mike's a second. We'll do a roll call on.
I have an additional nomination. Is nomination still open?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking we would do the roll call, and then if you wanted to nominate someone else after that, if it didn't.
What's the order of that, Mike?
There'd be no.
Mike, is our...
I believe that's the prerogative of the chair as to how to handle the voting.
So you could...
Okay, so we have a nomination on the floor, so we'll do a vote as to Jen Mullen for secretary. We'll start with Jen Mullen.
Yes.
Lenora Williams.
No.
I'm sorry.
She said no.
Okay.
Lenora Williams, no.
Megan Johnson? No. Marsha Cooper-Smith? Angie Mosier?
Yes.
Jen Zen?
Yes. Hang on.
Mike Young?
Yes.
Carl Stocker?
No.
Miriam Underwood?
No.
Congratulations, Jen Mullen. You are the secretary for the Board of Education.
Thank you.
Okay. I know this is going a little out of order, but as chair, I would just like to say a few words. And first, I would like to acknowledge and thank Jen Zen for her leadership as board chair over the past 5 years. Jen has worked tirelessly and selflessly. There's not a meeting she has not attended or a budget she has not labored on for hours. I will never forget when I saw her at Windermere one day and I said, "You should run for Board of Ed, we need you." Once she began to serve, she served with intention, always taking copious notes and problem solving. She quickly took the leadership role as Board of Ed chair, and we were all the better for it. Thank you, Jen, for listening, for giving all board members a voice, for being transparent, empathetic, and fair, for being able to deliver the not-so-good news optimistically. I hope this town knows how hard you have worked and the sacrifices you have made to truly make our community a better place. Thank you.
Well said, Carrie. I agree.
Thank you for saying that.
Mike's clapping on the telephone.
Thank you, Mike. The Board of Ed understands at this time people have questions and concerns, and while our lives are filled with half-truths, AI, social media, and divisive politics, this is not how it has to be in our town. As it has been communicated, the Superintendent, Scott Nichols, is on FMLA leave, and there is a pending investigation. With that, there is a process that will be followed. The integrity of the process must not be compromised. Rules that are in place by the state legislature and board policy will be adhered to. There are topics such as a person's health status and/or personnel issues that are private and must be respected under the law. Laws are in place concerning the disclosure of information, and they are being followed. This board, from time to time, will go into executive session to discuss sensitive issues. Trust that members of this board have been elected by you to handle matters that are not able to be made public at that time. We will face a difficult budget this upcoming year. Taxpayers will face two challenges: the issue of Seamers, which could result in a deficit to the budget, and number two is the real estate will undergo evaluation. Many of you may have already received notices. This is very likely to increase taxes for most of our residents. The Board of Ed is already working to ensure that we will deliver the most cost-effective education without compromising quality. What does this mean? Our children must be afforded the very best education at the lowest cost possible to the taxpayer. The expectation is that each student be offered the highest level of education to their full potential and nothing less. We have some of the most talented, hardworking teachers and staff from every department. So this board has full confidence in our staff and administration to bring the highest level of learning from pre-K to grade 12. Leading the district in this continued endeavor as interim superintendent is Oliver Barton, who has 100% support of this board to move our district forward. We will continue to foster a safe space to learn where all students can feel included and supported. The Seeds of Civility should not just be a poster that we hang on the wall. It should be honored in our schools where students can feel confident sharing their ideas and opinions. A place where they can listen and be heard with the freedom to civilly disagree. The board is committing committed to setting the example for our children. Education comes before politics. And as such, we will continue together to do the right thing, regardless of the challenges we face. Every single person sitting on this board today cares about our children and wants the very best for the towns and its citizens. So as we step into this season of gratitude and thanksgiving, may we take a moment to feel thankful for our little town and the people in our community, especially the children who have such an amazing opportunity to learn in such a beautiful place. I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And now we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Are there any opposed changes to the consent agenda? Hearing none, the consent agenda stands. We're moving to special reports. We have the regular board committee reports. Jen and Alicia for finance, please.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met just day before yesterday. We had a few items on our agenda that included the 2026 financial update, 2025 unexpended fund, the budget calendar, administrative assistant position conversation, and a part-time paraeducator. Everyone should have the financial report. We could probably do finance at the same time, don't you think?
Do you want me to talk about it? I know tonight it's for information only, but I'm happy to go through it
Might
real
as
quick.
well.
Yeah. Oh, geez. As I said that, I closed it on my.
That's okay.
I know where they are.
It's okay, take your time.
Other than the salary, oh, sorry, you ready? Okay,
Yeah,
go.
so the overages that you're seeing on that financial report are 3 salaries lines. I've been digging through those extensively to figure out why those reasons are and if it is due to encumbrances or due to other reasons based on turnover or other reasons. And so what I'm going to do is, my plan is to go into that in more detail in the next Finance Committee meeting, so those reasons can then be brought to this board as well, so we have awareness of that as we go into the budget season as well. The equipment line is also over budget, and that is due to the internet, the switches that needed to be replaced, and that will be covered by a transfer from Chromebook insurance. And then you also see overage within the tuition line, and that is because we have not submitted or received our payment for excess funds, and that will come in.
That's it.
That's it for that one, yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No,
and
you're
then,
please,
no.
you're
And then we had a discussion about the unexpended funds that we have for the fiscal 24-25 year. That there's a general fund amount of $150,836. So our next step is to
go to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of
Finance, right, which is December 2nd, and then the Board of Selectmen, and ask for that, those funds to go into a special education account for transportation and tuition. So that'll be the next steps for that. If anybody's interested, that's the Board of Finance meeting is December 2nd, and the Board of Selectmen is December 8th, respectively. The next item that we spoke about was the budget calendar, which I think everyone has in front of them now.
And I emailed it to whoever's on.
And she emailed it to whoever's on, right. Perfect. So the discussion, we had different dates, but then we realized that it was the President's weekend, so we kind of backtracked on that. So that's why you see about 11 days between our Saturday meeting and then the the Finance Committee meeting, which actually kind of works out in a good way because it gives people time to digest and really enjoy the budget book, right? It's such an enjoyable experience. It gives you a little more time to live with it, to love it, or not. But we thought that this was the best path forward. Respectfully understanding 3 meetings in 1 week around the budget might be a lot, or it might be exciting, right? Maybe everybody will get into that. So those dates are before you for an action item this evening, for a motion, and actually.
Excuse me?
Sure, Lenora, go ahead.
Could you read those dates out loud? I am unable to, there's too much on my screen for me to be able to see all of that.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to. January 6th would be the budget workshop where we do the 3 breakouts. January 8th.
That's a Saturday.
January 6th? It should be a Tuesday.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, no, that's a Tuesday.
Okay.
And then January 8th is a Thursday. That's the second one. And that's when we would receive the budget books and get the high flyer overview. And then January 10th is the Saturday at 9 a.m. start. And that usually finishes around 11:30.
Thank you.
And then do you want the rest of them for the January?
Yes.
Okay. January 21st, that would be the regular Finance Committee, but that's when we review the budget in Finance Committee. And we're holding January 26th in case all of the discussion is not finished and we want to talk about it further. We want to review things further. We have that as an as-needed, Lenora. And then the final would be January 28th at 6 p.m., which would be our normally scheduled monthly meeting.
Madam Chair, since Lenora can't see this, I'd like to ask if we can make those meetings, the 5:45 meetings, 6 o'clock, because she is unable to arrive here at 5:45 from work.
The meetings that, are you talking about the workshop meetings?
The January 6th, January 8th, January 21st, and January 26th.
Well, the January 21st and 26th are the Finance Committee
All
meetings.
right, then January 6th and January 8th, could we accommodate her work schedule by changing those meetings to 6 o'clock? I think if she could see that, she would ask that.
Lenora, is that your wish?
Yes.
Lenora, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so January 6th and January 8th, we'll move those to 6 o'clock.
I think we could do it.
Thank you.
I would say we do it for all of them. Absolutely.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was something with the Finance Committee. Doesn't mean you have to move it permanently to that time if Lenora's not on the committee, but
Yeah,
maybe
Finance Committee is normally at 4:30 anyway, so.
Oh, it is, okay. So 6 o'clock for the 21st, 26th, and as well. So we'll move them all to the 6 o'clock. Lenora? So
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you-
Alicia, will you send out a new one
Yep.
with that information? And Tracy usually puts it on the calendar to be able to, for everyone to see it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other discussion on or calendar questions? The next item on the agenda was administrative assistant position conversation. We had previously discussed this at the last Finance Committee meeting. What we're looking to do is convert a 10-month position at the high school to a 12-month position as an administrative assistant, with the thought process being behind supporting the athletic director. They're already doing some of the work there currently, but this would allow the athletic director to do more of being on site and working with parents and students versus doing the secretarial work or the support staff work. So right now the position that we currently have is $46,245. With turning that position to full-time, that would come out to $58,054, with a difference of $11,809. At the last meeting, we talked about finding ways to support that $11,809 in other areas, whether that be through stipends or some other way to make it budget neutral. They are looking at utilizing some of the pay-for-play money. There's currently an excess of $61,000 in the pay-for-play. Right, just jump in anytime I'm not doing it right.
No, you're right, I'll tell you.
So they're looking at helping support that position through pay-for-play, which makes sense as they're helping out the athletic director. Going forward, we would either continue along that avenue or we would look to slowly integrate that into the operating budget. And that was looked on favorably by the people at the operations committee. The last discussion that we had was the part-time paraprofessional pay, paraeducator, sorry. And we were looking at different aspects of it. Darcy joined us. Thank you for giving us feedback on that. There is a stipend that paraprofessionals, full-time paraprofessionals get for assisting students with extra needs like feeding or changing. So that's $750 a year. We are looking to offer that same stipend to, bless you, paraprofessionals that are part-time, so it would be $375.
It probably went up a little bit this year, but that was last year's amount.
Stellar.
But they'll
Okay.
get 50% of that contracted
amount. So, and we would like to make that available to them immediately. So we talked about doing that, and we are working on some other potential shifts. We have to look at what the budget implication would be, but we see them, we hear them, and there was one thing we could do immediately, and we took that step to do that, and we will be discussing it. It'll be on the docket again for the next Finance Committee meeting, because Alicia will be coming back to us with additional information. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you.
There's no motion as to the administrative assistant position.
Because you don't, it's going to be budget neutral.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay. Operations, Miriam?
The Operations Committee met on Monday, and thank you, Alicia. I grabbed the wrong yellow pad, and Alicia bailed me out today. We reviewed the disposal of 3 vehicles. This included 2 transportation vans for students and a maintenance van that were deemed to be no longer suitable for the road. We also reviewed the capital improvements plans, and my understanding is we're postponing voting on that until next month, which includes the capital improvements submission includes funds for vehicles, smartboards, computers, and classroom furniture. This will be reviewed in detail and voted on during the December board meeting. We discussed first student transportation, acknowledging the fact that some of our parents are expressing concerns about bus routes being consolidated. It is a problem for lack of drivers, and we talked about how we could resolve this problem. The bus company is saying that they are hiring people, paying for their CDLs, and then they're leaving. So we're looking for reviewing the issues for driver shortages and strategies to improve the problem, and how routes or approaches we may be able to change them. We're going to discuss this again in future meeting. We discussed the middle school sign. As you know, we've got a new sign for the high school. It's great. And Center School is having, their PTO is putting up a new sign for them. And Greg, our Director of Facilities, is exploring ways at the middle school. We have an art teacher there who's looking for a project, and we hope that she and her students can help us to upgrade the sign at EMS. And Windermere, the Windermere update. The 2 new renovated wings will open on time next month, with the teacher's first day in the new space being January 2nd. This project is well under budget, and while movement on the punch list for the new buildings that opened last year was slow at first, things are now moving forward. In the third phase that will start in January will be mostly the demolition of the pre-K K wing and installation of the new pre-K playground. And so I'd like to urge the public to go by. It's looking wonderful. It is such a inviting front as you go down Abbott Road. I'm really very proud of the building, and kudos to everyone who worked so hard and so long to get this going. That's it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mike, did we, I don't think we had curriculum?
No, but he did want to remind everyone that the curriculum committee meeting was moved to next Tuesday, the 25th.
Get a time on that?
Yes, 5:45.
Thank you.
Sure. Policy.
We didn't meet, but there's a second read on the action, and then
There's a
next,
what?
There's a second read under the motions. if I
Okay.
recall. That'll come up later, and then we meet December 9th.
Okay.
Hi, Carrie,
Yes.
is it possible to have that curriculum meeting moved to 6 p.m. as well?
Is Mike on the phone?
He is not, but I think that that could definitely be a discussion with.
Yeah, I typically attend those meetings in person if I can.
Okay, just let me, I just want to check with Mike to make sure there's no, that he's able to do it at that time, or if there's any time constraints that he has. But if he doesn't, then 6 o'clock is fine. So let me just check with him. I don't think he's on the phone any longer. So we'll circle back with you, Lenora, on that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Communications, Jen, you're up.
Okay, so I do want to, first of all, mention that the communications team is working on building the new Smart Sites website in conjunction with the IT staff. And we're going to review that at the next communications committee meeting, which is going to be held December 15th at 5 p.m. I would also like to take this moment to congratulate Tracy Deptula, who has been appointed to our communications and media coordinator position as a stipend role. Yes, very well deserved. As a stipend role, it doesn't need to go out and be posted publicly. So since this is a stipend role, we appointed Tracy. Tracy has been instrumental in getting S'mores up and going, as well as our social media presence. So she's going to make a great addition to the team for sure. When it comes to our social media stats, at this point in time, we are up 31 followers on Facebook to 1138. Instagram, we're up 76 followers to 798. And S'more did continue to be used for job openings, with the most recent opening for a school psychologist with over 1,000 views. So we're definitely, S'more seems to be a great tool, and we're using it very well to our advantage. So again, our next meeting is going to be December 15th at 5 o'clock.
Thanks, Jen. Superintendent report.
Great. Good evening, everyone. It is certainly a pleasure to be here. And as always, it's an honor to serve the Ellington community and to serve this Board of Directors, or Board of Education. The notice that went out about a week and a half ago from Jen Zen about the appointment of myself as acting superintendent referenced the importance of continuity of leadership. So tonight I'd like to speak about my approach to leadership and in an acting superintendent role, and to provide some updates on the work of the district. The roadmap for our success as a district remains the District Improvement Plan, which was discussed by this board over several meetings and then approved at the last meeting in October. And that district improvement plan, as you remember, includes 3 main buckets of work. The first is around academic excellence. The next is related to the conditions for learning. And the third part is around operational effectiveness. And you may remember that in relation to academic excellence, the district focus for this year is on student engagement and the rigorous learning and instruction in every classroom every day. Those initiatives are based on our vision of the learner, which we've been discussing for a year or two, and a vision of high quality instruction that administrators are working on and interacting with teachers on through professional learning. The conditions for learning leans heavily on Seeds of Civility and Ellington Unplugged, and those initiatives are really critical for the district at this time, and there's a big body of work around that. Finally, operational effectiveness has a focus or a main theme around accountability and also maximizing the return on investment through innovation and both very careful budgeting, as Carrie Socia referenced in the challenging budget year ahead, and very careful spending of the precious taxpayer dollars that support our education, the education that we provide for our students. We all know that the superintendent is ultimately responsible for all the work of the district, but that the superintendent does not directly manage the details of the operations in all the spheres of the work of the district. So I like to think of the superintendent as a sort of high-level conductor of a huge orchestra. So I kind of picture like a Richie Diamond or a Matt DeLassis on steroids, right, with this massive orchestra of amazing staff. You can also think of the superintendent as a coach of a very large team, and that is constantly scoring goals and achieving wins on behalf of students across our schools. Carrie Socia also referenced the incredible, excellent teaching that's going on in our classrooms, and the success of the district is certainly based on where the magic happens. It happens with teaching in classrooms every single day, and that's supported by expert administration supporting and supervising the staff across all the buildings. But I want to speak to one other major factor that is core to my leadership work, and it's also critical in the functioning of the district, and that is the success of a variety of critical teams of folks working collaboratively to implement the district improvement plan. So I want to start with 5 examples of those teams. The first being the most obvious one here tonight, right? And the highest level team in the district is this Board of Education serving in the role of governance and oversight of the district. We know how strong this board is, how committed board members are, and how effective it's been over time in the oversight of the district as a whole, and we see that in the success of our schools. The highest level team within district is what we call the cabinet, and that currently consists of Dr. Christy Laporte in Student Support Services, Alicia Caprino in Operations and Finance, and then myself right now serving in 2 roles, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and also Acting Superintendent. So it's really critical that the 3 of us work closely together, collaboratively, and that we're aligned and focused on the main priorities of the district so that we can lead the district as a whole with a consistent message and consistent support and oversight of the other teams across the district. The first team I'll mention in that regard is the Admin Council, the team of all the administrators in the district. And those folks work very hard within their own buildings and within their own sphere of work, but it's very important that we have that team aligned, right? So it's aligned horizontally, for example, across the 3 elementary schools, and then vertically K through 12, so that all students have a continuous experience and there's continuity and alignment across the different levels in the district. Another team that you've heard from through the curriculum committee and in a presentation at the last board meeting was a small team of 3 teacher leaders, and those are the K through 12 curriculum leads, And so you've met Kelly Brown in math, Erin Grosso in literacy, and Rachel Manzer. And that team is often referred to within district as the dream team because they do such great work in support and oversight of curriculum implementation and ensuring excellent instruction across classrooms. The last team I'll mention in this first group is the central office staff. And the central office staff are those who are working behind the scenes, doing logistical work and support that allows teachers and the schools themselves to be successful in their critical frontline work with students and families. And so those 5 teams are actually the teams that I met with on Monday, a week and a half ago, on my first day in this position. So I didn't meet with the whole Board of Ed, but with the board chair around the board priorities and identifying the work ahead over the next couple weeks as I'm in this temporary acting position. There's some additional work that I want to expand out to reference a few other teams and other places that I've been involved in the last couple of weeks. So one of those areas is around the professional learning that's happening across the schools. So I was involved in the professional learning in four of the 5 schools. I've met with 2 of the school leadership teams. Very recently met 2 construction teams, both the small team that oversees the whole project and the expansive team of about 20 members who are involved in the construction at Windermere, and really the oversight of all that construction. Additionally, I've been to the few school security meetings and met with union representatives across the district, along with elementary principals, the tech integration team, and a few others. So as I check with those teams and the systems and structures that make the work of the district possible and ensure the highest quality teaching and learning that our board chair referenced, what am I looking for? So as I do that, I'm looking to make sure that those teams are focused on the critical priorities of the district. I'm making sure that they're putting kids and families first and foremost so that student issues and the quality of the experience of students is put above the needs of adults and staff. I'm looking for strong accountability and follow through by those teams. And on those teams, I'm looking for effective collaboration and engagement of voices of the entire team in the work that they're working on. And last, but certainly not least, I'm looking for a culture of integrity and respect in that work. And I have to say that as I look at those systems and structures over the last few weeks, I can assure you that those teams are very high functioning. In the last week alone, I will say there have been times for a few reminders and redirections, and to some degree resetting culture in certain corners. But folks are working super hard, and when strongly opinionated, committed leaders are working hard, sometimes under the pressure of building projects and behaviors and all the other challenges. There are times when folks have to respectfully disagree, as our board chair referenced in relation to seeds of civility. So we keep an eye on that, and we're building that culture of respect and building off such a strong foundation. So I want to assure you that those teams are on track, and not just for sustaining the status quo as it is, but to really driving hard towards the goals of this board and the priorities of the district as a whole. So we're moving forward. We are not just maintaining a status quo at this time. And I think as we move towards Thanksgiving and the season of gratitude, I do believe that students and families really do appreciate the benefits of the product of that teamwork that they see in the excellent educational experience for their children in the buildings day in and day out. And we saw great examples of that in our recognitions earlier this evening. Students who are just clearly excelling in the work they do and the experience they have and the vision and amazing thoughts and energy that they bring to their work as students. So finally, on a personal professional note related to that, I'm certainly extremely grateful that I am in this role, acting in this role, in a district that has such a strong foundation and the support of the Board of Education. So I referenced earlier that I also wanted to provide a few updates on key pieces of work. So that's my last point for tonight. When I met with the administrator team, they referenced that one of their concerns was that there were a handful of positions that weren't filled in the district that were stretching folks super thin, and that over time would have an impact on the quality of the work of the district. So one of those is the Director of Informational Technology, and Alicia Carpino put a great process in place, and we implemented that with a search that was not only across all of Connecticut, but even included some candidates from across the country. And in that process, we brought forward 2 candidates to the entire administrative team and the Board of Education. Based on feedback from the Board of Ed and the admin team and some additional follow-up around the candidates, we decided that the best solution for now would be to have an interim director, and we're extremely fortunate that Arthur Biriakis, who's here tonight, and has been doing both the technology director role and his previous role, will be able to fill in and step into an interim director position. And we're very excited about that. That also allows us to backfill on an interim basis his work as a systems administrator. So that's one big step down, and we're excited to be moving forward there. I think you're also aware that the principal at BASES, we needed additional admin support there, partly because in the first week or two of the school year, John Guidry had to be out for a number of days, and then we were able to find an interim for that position. And that's an individual who is a licensed school social worker and who led a very successful school previously as a principal, a school with a social emotional learning focus, and that is particularly relevant to the BASES environment. And additionally ran a school, middle school, high school of 1,100 students, so has the experience in administration that's relevant for the high school portion of BASES. So that person is Julia Goldstein, and we originally had her lined up to be able to serve more or less until Thanksgiving. In the last week or two, we've been able to convince her to stay on until June, and that's a really important piece for continuity at BASES, and her work there has been really phenomenal. Chrissy has certainly guided her and supported her in that and overseen that work at BASES. That also puts us in a great position because we will need to do a thorough and careful search for the next permanent high school principal. And while we do that, having BASES covered allows us to complete that high school process and then see if there are any implications for the leadership at BASES resulting from that process, that search and appointment. So it's really important that we have this support in place at BASES through pretty much the rest of the year. Finally, there's one other position I'd like to mention is that Julie Warren has been serving both as HR coordinator and in her previous role as insurance and attendance specialist. And a committee identified an excellent candidate to fill in the insurance and attendance specialist piece, and that person will be able to start by the beginning of January. So it's not immediate, but there's a plan in place, and we're confident that that will allow the central office team to be back on track with the work that's going to be coming up between the budget season and starting the hiring process for the positions that will open for next year. The last thing I'd like to mention is a bit of a work in progress, and that is that high school administration the new high school administration has been enforcing existing protocols and policy around attendance, including tardiness and absenteeism. And this is a bit of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that most people don't know about, but school counselors and teachers have noted, and administration as well, is that there's been a reduction in absenteeism and in the number of students missing classes during the school day and being late to class. The challenge on the other side is that some of the details within those protocols aren't exactly student-friendly and aligned with what we believe will really help students manage any of the difficulties that might get in the way in a reasonable way and promote good attendance. So there's a little bit of collateral damage that is unfortunate there. High school administration has definitely gotten input from students and parents and is seeking further input from students, and they want to revisit those policies. So I just wanted to let the board know that administration is aware of this challenge and that it's important that they'll be taking a look at it. In fact, they'd like to come to the next policy committee and have an open dialogue with board members around the challenges and some proposed solutions in the hope of making an adjustment that could then ideally be in place for the second semester. So both those hiring wins and this upcoming work around attendance are examples of how teams are working together and going beyond the insight and talent of one individual decision maker to collaborative teams that together can make better decisions and continue to grow the quality of experience for all our students. So that's my report for tonight, and I'm certainly excited to be here and look forward to continued collaboration with the board.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Thanks, Oliver. That was very helpful and informative, and we welcome you.
Can you put your a little closer to the mic?
Mic closer? Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Do you anticipate a search for BASE's principal as well?
So it depends on the number of administrative openings we have in district. So if we were to fill the high school principalship with a current administrator in district, like an internal candidate, that would leave an additional opening that would then be an external search. If in the search for a high school principal, the committee and the board decides on an external candidate, then hiring that person would would round out the number of administrative openings we have in entirety, and we would have to assign within the current pool of administrators someone who would be a good fit for BASES.
Okay, so it depends on who fills the high school first.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And then my second question was, the protocols that you said didn't align with student success with respect to their absenteeism. Can you be a little more specific on that, or give us an example?
Sure. So, written into the current policies and procedures is a lack of a distinction between being tardy to class when you're already in the building and being tardy to class when you had a flat tire on the way to school or you had to go to a doctor's appointment. And those should be considered differently because there are lots of reasonable reasons why a student might be late and shouldn't be punished excessively for being late to school with a reasonable excuse. So I think that's an example of the type of thing that they want to look at.
Thank you.
I feel like back in the 80s, it was like you'd get called down to the VP and they'd say, well, why were you late for this class, or what happened? And then it would be determined at that point whether you got the detention or not. Not from personal experience, of course.
Right, of course. Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But like that process seemed to work like in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where now instead of just the kid is tardy, and then we're handing out a detention. Now, the vice principal of the school now gets a touch point, and it doesn't have to be them necessarily, whoever it is that's assigned to it, now gets a touch point with this kid to say, oh yeah, there's not really an issue here, or is there something more going on, so that another conversation develops, right?
Right. So we do want the new procedures and protocols to be responsive to student needs and to conditions that come up. We also want it fair and consistent across all students. And with the administration being new to the building, their approach was to read what was in writing in the policy and protocol and follow that carefully. So that did lead to some decisions that they currently understand could be updated in a way that's more effective and responsive. So we are agreeing that the system needs to be looked at and those practices reviewed so that a clearer and more appropriate plan can be implemented.
Okay.
As policy, I think a little bit of the information, well, not a little bit, what we get for legislation is really around truancy.
Right.
And then most of the intricate details are more in the high school handbook. So we get the large view, and then we need to definitely look at how we can help our students continue, because again, we're a whole person. So there's a lot to look at when somebody might be tardy or absent, so having a touch point would be a very good idea.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're looking forward to, doing that with the policy committee. And we understand that the board level policy is more general, and the protocols that they implement in the handbook are, as you said, specific to the high school. But they want to have an open-ended discussion about how to improve the protocols that are in place kind of administratively and within the handbook level.
Okay, thank you. We're going, in your package, you should have the monthly finance and human resource report, so we're going to move to the board liaison reports. You're up.
I guess that's
Keegan.
me. Okay. So I was going to talk about the attendance policy being looked at, but I guess everything I was going to talk about was already talked about.
Well, we'd love to hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, speaking with Mr. Mitchell and then other, I guess, people at the high school, the attendance policy hasn't changed from last year or previous years. It is just being looked at and enforced more. So it's more of an enforcement thing than it is like actually changing anything. And as was talked about being late to school versus late to class, I talked to Mr. Mitchell, and this isn't like, it's not set in stone, but he was like, maybe give a few freebies being late to school, because obviously you have things that happen that aren't in your control, like flat tire, like maybe your car doesn't start or something like that, especially as the weather gets colder. But then once you've expended those freebies, then you get to like the real punishment, and that's when everything happens. And then I don't think there's going to be any change with being late to class, because you are already in the building. So, and with that, most times if you're late to class, or if it's excused, you're probably talking to a teacher, which you'll have like a pass from them. So it's more of like a late to class because you chose not to walk fast enough, as I like to call it. And then last Tuesday on Veterans Day, Student Council put on their annual Veterans Day ceremony, where they had more than 40 veterans attend, and it was hearing people both speak in the assembly and hearing voices from students and Mr. Kozik and stories from a veteran himself. I thought was amazing. I love the Veterans Ceremony every year. I've seen 4 of them, and might have to join so I can come back and keep watching them. And then before that, Student Council also held not really held, but they put on their annual Field of Flags, where they raised $415 for disabled veterans. And out front, outside the high school, I don't know if you saw it, if you drove by or walked by, they put out tons of flags. It looked amazing. And that was just recently taken down. And then, let's see, sports-wise, football had their senior night, I want to say it was last Friday. They won really big, which is good for them. And then they have 2 games left in the regular season, Friday versus Weaver, and then they play night before, not Halloween, night before Thanksgiving, which they play Rockville as always, and I think it's a good game. And then after Thanksgiving break, we have our winter sports, which will begin. And before that, Brianna LaForest, Sunday I think it was, at the State Open Championship, she won the Class M title for the 500-meter freestyle. So she is best in Class M, which I think is amazing, because really any sport, any event, that is just an incredible achievement. And then Friday, the 5th of December through the 7th of December, OKP is putting on, they promised her the moon, which I've heard is going to be good. Can't confirm because it hasn't happened, but I think it should be. They always are. And NHS is currently running a food drive, which has started the 17th and is set to end the 21st, so on Friday? I'm going to go with Friday. And it might go on longer depending on, I think, how much food is donated or other reasons. And they set it up outside the cafeteria right next to the senior courtyard, and they're asking for non-perishable food items to be donated. And then haven't heard any concerns from students about anything that's going on at the high school, so that's all I have. Any
Thank
questions?
you very much. Marcia, do you have something from Center?
I do, and we saw firsthand how excited Mr. V is about Myra. We'll be anxious to hear at 9:30 tomorrow morning how she did in her run for Connecticut Kid for Governor. Also, a list of things going on over there, December 9th through the 12th, the Center School Holiday Shop. December 12th, PJ Day. December 15th is their winter chorus concert. And December 19th, student holiday celebration in the classrooms, sponsored by the PTO. So they're off and running.
Thank you. Ann, do you have anything else to add? I know you were at the Veterans Show.
I was.
Because it's really kind of a show.
Yeah, it was. And after Oliver and Keegan, I don't have much, but I will add my little bit here.
Oh, and the food was very good. So the
Yes,
culinary, Mr.
culinary.
Hellman, I love that.
Yep. And a shout out to MC Lauren Hoover. She's a senior, so she did a really good job.
Yes, you did.
Mr. Mitchell wanted to talk about, again, like Oliver, the instructional leadership team attended a conference about what they can focus on with their PD work. And it's good to see that it's about what we've talked about in curriculum, with students collaborating, teachers collaborating, putting the discussion more on the students also, and instead of just teacher-led, that'll be some interesting. It'd be interesting to go see those classrooms once some people have implemented it. So, our new director of athletics, Pat O'Neill, has been hard at work making connections with students and staff as he prepares for the winter sports season. One thing Mr. Mitchell told me is we were notified a couple of weeks ago that EHS was awarded an open choice wraparound grant totaling over $220,000. They're still in the planning stages of how to use the funds to support our school community and provide memorable opportunities for our students. So, amazing grant. I don't know what the wraparound means exactly, but
Who got the
it's
grant?
for the open choice students.
Oh.
And I don't know if you attended, it was like Supper of the Knighthood that we attended beginning of this year? Yes.
Yes, so there was a kickoff over the summer that was, I think, instituted by Brandon Huberns to start, and so it brought choice program students here for a week-long camp, and they connected with students here, mostly freshmen, so it was incoming freshmen from Ellington connecting with incoming freshmen from the choice program. It was amazing. And from that was this additional grant. And I do believe that with some of that grant money, they're allowing 4 choice students to go on the Southwest trip this April, which is huge, huge.
I'm meeting with Brandon and the teacher who is in charge of the choice here at Ellington High School on Friday. I have blown our horn at CREC today, and but I don't know. Brandon told me amongst the things that they're planning on doing, in addition to taking students to this to the Southwest trip, they're planning a trip to New Orleans, a food trip, and they're going to have scholarships available. They're talking about taking some of our choice students to the Historical Black College tour that CREC offers. And I'll know more on Friday and report more next month on what they're doing. But my colleagues at CREC said, what is this grant and how did you get it? And come back and tell us more.
I can't remember the lady's name that really, like, there's just some
It's from the State
superb
Department
staff
of
that work with this
Education.
program, and I can't remember the names. I don't know if you
Letitia
know.
DeJager is
Yes.
a math specialist and interventionist who has been a leader in this
She's
work.
amazing. Just seeing her interact with the kids was really good. Thank you for the help on that. And so yes, the communication went out to all the parents about the attendance policy, and yes, I look forward to talking about it at the next, if I would like to attend the policy meeting, and we would like to talk about it and have a discussion. So.
Great.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Miriam, you're up.
Crystal Lake, well, you've got my report on CREC.
Yes, I did.
That's all done with. But Crystal Lake has had their annual, their cereal food drive. On November 25th, they collected 1,623 boxes of cereal to support 6 local food pantries. And I had been speaking when it was uncertain about SNAP funding, whether we could think about doing something not as an individual school, but as a community, a school community. And I want to take this opportunity to put that out there. If we can work on collecting food for maybe Christmas or something, I feel strongly that our SNAP families here in Ellington and here in Hartford are struggling, and I don't want any kid going hungry. So I was thinking about that, and then I got this from John saying that they had done all of these collection of cereal boxes. But I hope that we can put that idea and start working on that to support the community here and our students in Hartford.
I feel like there might be something that Tracy put out. Is she still here? Tracy? Did you put something out about collecting food?
So something recently went out district-wide about a food drive with food services and partnering with human services. So there was a flyer that went out for a weekend backpack program where Ellington families and our school families can sign up to obtain be a part of the weekend backpack program.
Could you share that with the board?
Sure, I can forward you one of the emails, yes, with the flyer and the information.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and Crystal Lake's Book Fair is December 3rd and 4th and 5th. And I think that is all.
Lenore, do you have a liaison report?
Yes, I have a couple of things. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to forget about you guys.
Is Spirit Day, since it looks today's date, is November 21st. I think that's this Friday at Windermere, and that's when they are going to rock their windy gear and colors. On November 26th, it's the whole school pajama day, and they also have an early dismissal. They're having their holiday boutique December 8th through the 12th. And the 5th and 6th graders on December 11th are having a paint night. And that is all I have.
I do want to say that paint night is open to everyone. It's a fundraiser for 5th and 6th grade, but anybody can go.
Okay.
Yeah, so like my kids who are smaller, they can go to it. So anyone can go to it. It's just to benefit 5th and 6th graders.
Got it.
Yes, they will show you. There'll be like someone teaching you. Yes, anybody could do it. Yeah.
What date was that again? Sorry.
December 11th.
And is there an admissions fee or tickets?
Yeah, I don't know how much the tickets are, but whoever's going to paint needs to pay, and that's how they raise the money.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what I figured,
Yeah,
but I didn't know.
I'm not. I think it might be. I don't know. I don't want to say because I'm not sure.
Okay, and that's
There is a fee, but I can't seem to
Yeah, I wanna
open
say
up
it's
the thing to
$20 or
tell me what it
$30,
is.
but don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Thanks, Lenora. Miss Mullins, you're up.
I have bases, and as Oliver mentioned, Julie Goldstein, who's our interim administrator, has done an amazing job already. She is quickly establishing herself as a supportive and caring educator for families, students, and staff, so we welcome her. And Megan Gale, who is our transition coordinator, gave a presentation last night along with the Department of Developmental Disabilities from the state of Connecticut. Several families were able to attend the workshop to learn more about supporting their children with disabilities and how to go about that. And to piggyback kind of on what Miriam mentioned, Eclipse is doing a sock drive for some shelters as well. So if anybody in earshot has some socks that they can drop off and donate, Eclipse will gladly take them. And they'll be giving those out to shelters locally. So if that's really all that I have, so thank you.
I have a question for you, Jen. Are we looking for new socks?
New
Or-
socks, yes.
New socks, okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that concludes the liaison reports. No one else has anything that I missed, correct? All right, so action items. Can I get I'll entertain a motion to table the superintendent's goals?
Move that the Board of Education remove from table the approval of the superintendent goals for 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Jen Mullins, second.
Was it Jen or Lenora?
Oh,
It was
I'm
Lenora.
sorry. Oh,
That was
I'm so
Lenora.
sorry. All right. Any discussion around that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Lenora. We have a consensus. Can I get are we doing the second read, or we have to read both of those motions to postpone? Postpone. So does one?
Move that the Board of Education postpone the approval of the superintendent goals for 2025-2026 school year to the December meeting.
Second.
That's Miriam. Any discussion around that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Does someone want to read the second read to approve the revisions to policy 4400?
I move that the Board of Education, upon recommendation of the Policy Committee, approve second read revisions to Policy 4400, Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA.
Second.
I'll give it to Marcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Action item C.
I would ask that I would move that we table the approval of the 5-year capital plan until board members have an opportunity to all review.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Action item D.
Move that upon the recommendation of the Finance Committee, the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 budget calendar with times amended.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Sorry. Opposed? Abstain? Anyone abstaining? No. Motion carries. Action item E.
I move that the Board of Education approve the middle school field trip to Washington DC from June 2nd to June 5th, 2026, subject to the conditions as outlined in Board Policy number 5150.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, motion carries. Action item F.
Move that the Board of Education accept with regrets and best wishes the personal retirement of John Chaves, Tech Ed at Ellington High School, effective January 30th, 2026.
Second.
Angie, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, motion carries. Next is, did we get any correspondence?
We did. We had about 6 correspondents. There was a parent with an Eclipse student who had some concerns about future employment, but it was she was contacted quickly and was very pleased with the resolution. There's parents concerned about the lack of bus drivers in the district, which Miriam had talked about. We had a correspondence from the athletic director that came through to board members. And then we had 3 parents reach out with concerns about the pending investigation, looking for information, which unfortunately at this time we're unavailable to give. And that was it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right.
Second.
Lenora, your time is lapsed, so get in there right away.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. See you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you guys for
Aye.
coming in remotely.